I streamed so much when I was first getting into YouTube, which was definitely Injustice 2. I think Street Fighter 5 was like on occasion. But I cannot remember what other games did I stream. Oh yeah, I did stream the Metro games, primarily Metro, not, yeah, Metro Last Light. Oh, it is 2033. But anyways, Metro Last Light and occasionally Metro 23 I streamed the heck out of. I really need to get back to streaming those games again. Even if it is me just replaying the older Metro games and finish up, not just streaming, but also just in general finish playing Metro Exodus. Excuse me. There was also the Darksider games, well, mainly just Darksiders 2. But actually I remember that was like, what? Didn't Flip himself say that was one of his favorite streams? I know he definitely enjoyed, because he told me recently, a couple weeks ago, how much he enjoyed my Injustice 2 streams and other videos. So I think out of all the games I have, oh, excuse me, I believe it's, in the beginning, it was Injustice 2. Okay, just overall, over the games I streamed the most from the beginning to the middle up to now were Doom, Resident Evil 6, or just the Resident Evil games in general. I have quite a few. So Injustice 2, Doom, the Resident Evil games, Darksiders. Excuse me. Man, that Dr. Pepper. It's good though. Actually, I want to get into streaming. I have Medieval. I want to get back into streaming that. Oh, come on. I need to really upgrade these guns.
Why not? I need to stretch my legs.
I also need to get back into streaming Bloodborne. You know what's funny was that when I first streamed that game, the first day I got it, Flips actually warned me. He said to be prepared because this game was gonna make me go mad and all that stuff. And at first I thought that was just Flip trying to scare me. And boy, was I so dang wrong. Because the fact that the people who made Bloodborne being the same people who made the Dark Souls games. Not to mention the number of other games that are like that. Like, what was it, Sekiro? Yeah, Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice. And there's a few others like it. And just overall, he was not kidding. Damn near lost my mind. My blood pressure was going up just from playing that game. Like, it's fun, but it's one of those games you absolutely not only have to have a lot of patience for, but you absolutely must learn from your past mistakes. It's not like games like God of War or Devil May Cry where you can just go all in and just do whatever the heck you want and enemies would be almost powerless to defeat you. Hey, speaking of which, I also gotta finish streaming God of War. Get back into streaming that. Because the older God of War games are fun, but God of War on the PS4 is by far, it is my, oh my goodness, it is by far my favorite. The gameplay, Kratos' characterization and his design, it's all awesome. It's just the only parts of the game that ever really got annoying was anywhere I went with Atreus, and that's specifically when Atreus was going through that phase of being super arrogant, overconfident, believing that, like, now that he found out he's a god, or part god from his father, that he can do whatever he wants and that he has the right to whatever he feels like. I was just, that phase of that game is just so annoying.
Don't make me hurt you.
And it's unfortunate it took Kratos so long when they end up back in the, not the Nether Realm. What was the realm I'm thinking of? Hey, wasn't there a motorcycle over there? Oh. When they end up back in hell, or dang stupid useless map. Yeah, what they call it? Helheim? Well, anyways, when they end up there again, and what was it? Yeah, that's like during your, I think, yeah, your second confrontation with Baldur. Oh, you jackass! What the hell?
Security breached. Lockdown in 60 seconds. Security breached. Lockdown in 30 seconds.
Haha! I am too intelligent for this game's own good.
There's gone. Guess I'll never know what really happened to... Wait.
Dude, are you crazy?
The Saints are marching in.
Sheesh, Kinsey's in the middle talking, and dude's just gonna come up and hit her like that. Just don't go ahead and random people like that. That's rude. Now, as far as with God of War, every fight against Baldur are my favorite parts of the game. And as much as I really just hate how overconfident and just full of shit Atreus became, at least just during the, it's only really during the part where he discovers that he's a god and he's all super arrogant. That's definitely him at his worst. But at least he learns to humble himself and actually follow orders again after Kratos finally disciplines him. And Atreus has no idea how fortunate he is. His father is nothing like he was in the original trilogy. But yeah, that part where Kratos finally disciplines Atreus and knocks some sense into him, at least verbally. Dang it. That's another one of my favorite parts of the game. But the way they did that whole thing with revealing that... What was her name? Freya? No. Freya, that's supposed to be Baldur's mother. What the hell's the name of Atreus' mother? Anyways, they did explain at some point in the game, like early on, how not everyone from Jotunheim, was literally a giant. Like some of the more powerful ones and more recognizable ones were in fact giants, but not all of them were. Some of them were literally the same size as an average human. Don't know how the hell that works. Man, mythology is weird. But you know what's interesting? But at the same time, well, no, it's not. It's not weird. At least not for Norse mythology. But what's interesting for Norse mythology is how, unlike Greek mythology, don't know about the Egyptian mythology, but Norse mythology, as far as I know, regardless if we're talking about adaptations or the original Norse mythology, I don't really hear about anyone being born as a result of incest between the gods, quite like the Greek gods. Like the fact that Zeus's wife, is it Hera? Yeah, Hera is actually his sister, and how so many of the gods in Greek mythology from Olympus are all related to each other. Oh, I've got another scammer. Hello?
At some point, repopulating the human race is going to come up, and I'm just saying, don't look at me.
Hi, this is Kim with American Senior Citizen.
Damn recorded voices. Anyways, yeah, I don't know if any of the gods in Norse mythology are the product of incest. And that's definitely not a bad motherfucker. This has been plaguing me since last night, or was it either last night or a couple days ago. I just can't get up this damn tower without constantly falling off. Let me just get to the top of this tower. Ah! 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 Stop doing this to me. Don't do this to me.
Earth's gone. Guess I'll never know what really happened to... Wait. Unless he's somewhere on this ship.
Actually, not only from Norse mythology do I not hear about incest between the gods being a common thing, but also, what's another thing that keeps happening in Greek mythology that I don't hear about Norse mythology? Oh yeah, how in Greek mythology, another common thing that happens between the gods is that they would impregnate mortals, create a whole bunch of demigods, and some of them, like Zeus, would take the form of animals to lay with whoever. And how a lot of the gods in Greek mythology were also, actually, I don't know any of the Greek gods who were ever straight up either bisexual or heterosexual. I was like, all of them were just either like straight up bisexual, as in they would literally just have sex with anyone or anything that moved if they felt like it, and it was just a matter of that if they felt like it. Like, that's not to say that obviously the Norse gods have had to have done stuff. Oh my goodness, another freaking scam caller. What do you want? Hello?
This is a...
Oh my goodness, leave me alone. Like, even if it is an adaptation of the original Norse mythology. Ah! I hate this tower. Even if it's an adaptation of the Norse mythology, the God of War series definitely goes out of its way to show that the Norse gods were a bunch of assholes. In particular, Thor and Odin. Like other series, when it comes to Greek mythology, Disney's adaptation of Hercules tries to portray all of them as being kind or good gods, except for Hades. And what's another series that tries to portray some of them as good, but not so much in the original? Oh yeah, Marvel's version of Thor is supposed to be one of the good guys. But God of War, when it comes to Norse mythology, God of War has other ideas. Although what's crazy about it is that I wonder how many people have this idea that Hercules is actually 100% a good guy, his father being so noble and all this other stuff.
Protocol. Other things are getting a little strange there. Well, I guess the whole thing isn't exactly normal to begin with, but you get the idea.
That was Kenzie talking. Anyways,
You got my vote. Come on by the ship when you're ready to reminisce.
anyways, compared to Disney's adaptation of Hercules or Marvel's adaptation of Thor and Norse mythology, God of War portrays either mythology closer to how it's originally portrayed. The Greek gods being so quick to get down and frisky with anything, be it their own relative, their own family. So we see, be it their own family. Ah, gosh dang it.
Security breached. Lockdown in 60 seconds.
Haha, I'm too intelligent. You cannot stop me. But anyways, God of War portraying Norse and Greek mythology closer to its roots. Greek gods being a whole bunch of them being the product of incest. A bunch of demigods being the product of not incest amongst the Greek gods, but some creatures being born as a result of bestiality, and what other fucked up stuff. So yeah, adultery, promiscuity. Anyways, bestiality, all of those unfortunately being very common themes amongst them. 20,000. Man. That'd be crazy. And no minigun. Not yet, at least. Let's see. And how's the Norse portrayed? Oh yeah, they portrayed the Norse mythology with Odin being a backstabbing jackass, his son Thor being a freaking blood knight, just going around attacking whoever, killing whoever, all for his lust for battle. I don't think about it. I don't hear about the Norse gods being so quick to go around screwing everyone and everything that moves. Like themes of incest and bestiality, I don't really hear about them as much in Norse compared to the Greeks. Like it's almost more so that their main issue is their obsession with combat or gaining whatever they want, regardless of how many people they gotta screw over or make enemies out of. Ah, Mr. David Keith. Man, I'm taking too much damage. I need to upgrade my health. Excuse me. I'm just glad in the Saints Row games you gain... Oh, I definitely need that. Good thing you gain money pretty quickly in this game. You know, it's because of games like God of War adaptations, like Disney's adaptation of Hercules, Marvel's adaptation of Norse mythology, primarily through Thor. That's why I know anything about Norse and Greek mythology. Excuse me.
I forgot to say it,
But
thanks.
as far as Egyptian
No
mythology,
problem at all.
Though I have to say,
even
I
with
was surprised you
characters
came
like
to
Black Adam,
Zen ship
I don't know
to find me
much
first.
about them at all.
I would have thought that.
It was on the way.
But you said you had to.
It was on the way.
Oh, right.
Now I get the joke is supposed to be that it's freaking Keith David, a famous celebrity and all of that. But at the same time, if the boss is closer, why not save him first? Sorry, officer, I know you're just doing your job like all other officers, but you gotta realize you're in a simulation and you're being controlled like a puppet. Hey, speaking of being controlled by a puppet, there is this clip I saw where this guy, he was some pretty short dude and he was almost surrounded by his sons. His sons being taller than him. Actually, I don't know how many of them were his sons and how many of them were whatever else. Anyways,
Has everyone forgotten how to fight?
so the weird thing is that he's in this store where everyone else is just out there shopping, and yeah, it's a grocery store and people are just shopping, getting whatever items they need, and he's harassing. Anyways, he's causing a scene about how people are wearing their masks because of COVID. How he's yelling at the top of his lungs how COVID isn't real and they're all just puppets for the government. And he was getting so red, and he was causing a scene that those younger men had to. One of them literally had to pick him up and carry him out of the store before he caused even more of a scene. And I'm like, if you're so disgusted by these people, then really you're not gaining anything by getting mad at all these people. Like, just telling a whole bunch of random people who really don't care and making yourself look foolish like that's not gonna really help get your message across.
Enemy ship flying in.
And when you get to the point where someone has to carry you out of some building like a child, then you're making yourself just look even more foolish. I need to upgrade the clip size. Yeah, there's too many of you Zen. So who's driving that truck? Now, if I remember, I could still buy Saints Row the 3rd on here. At least on PlayStation Network. I need to do that. Because I enjoy Saints Row 4, but I think in terms of story and overall gameplay and atmosphere, Saints Row the 3rd is my favorite.
What if I'm the one and I'm using myself as a homie? Is that like masturbatory?
Actually, out here thinking she the one like she Neo. That's funny.
You look adorable on there. Let me try.
That's cold. Get on, Ashley. Actually, what other types of mythology is there? Because the only ones I really know of are Egyptian, Greek, and Norse mythology. And the only two I know anything about where I can recognize the name of individuals and what they're supposed to be the gods of is Greek and Norse. But I'm trying to remember. I know there's Asian mythology, at least like Chinese mythology. I know it's a thing, but I'm even less familiar with it in any way, shape, or form than Egyptian mythology. And actually, I like how in God of War, while they're going through that little, was it? Yeah, through Tyr's storeroom, and they see a room filled with trinkets from Egypt, the Egyptian gods. And Atreus asks if there's gods there, and who was it? Mimir? Yeah, Mimir, who mentions how there's gods there too, a whole lot of them. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I think compared to Greek and Norse, Egyptian mythology has even more gods than either Greek or Norse mythologies. At least as far as I think that they have more pure gods as opposed to demigods at the very least. Excuse me. I think overall, it's Greek, Norse, and Egyptian mythologies that are the most popular worldwide. Man, I cannot talk right now. Worldwide, and that's why you see those usually get adapted into other media the most. And what's unfortunate and also pretty annoying is how, I think as far as people's idea of what Norse mythology is like, a lot of them would immediately think of Thor from God of War. So if someone were to say make a movie or a comic book involving the Greek gods, or not the Greek gods, but the Norse gods, especially Thor, people will be so quick to say, oh, they're ripping off Marvel, and it's like, no, they really, unless the character is so much like Thor to the point where it's uncanny from them, at least Marvel's Thor, that's like the only way they could be ripping off Marvel, is if they make the character too much like Thor's Marvel version. Whereas obviously they wouldn't be, it'd just be their own adaptation of the original mythology, which itself is public territory. Same way where if someone were to make their own version of the Amazons of Themyscira, Queen Hippolyta and all of them, they could. It's just that characters who originally started off, or who were originally created from DC, like Wonder Woman, then yeah, they can't make adaptations of her.
Camp David was a wild time, wasn't it? I can only imagine what we would have gotten up to if we didn't have to worry about the backlash.
Well, we don't have to worry about that now, right?
I'm trying to think, who else is there? So there's Wonder Woman, Donna Troy, and Cassie Sandsmark. Is it Sandsmark or just Sandmark? I think it is Sandsmark. Anyways, those characters you wouldn't be able to make an adaptation or write in your own whatever comic book, film, or whatever, since they are specifically copyright of DC Comics. What? Nowhere? But you still could make your own version of Hippolyta and the Amazons in general. But it's because DC's adaptation of the Amazons is the most popular. A lot of people will be quick to try to probably accuse you of ripping off DC just because they don't know, they may not know any better. They may not know that DC may have a more popular version of the Amazons, but they don't own the Amazons with Themyscira, because that's also part of Greek mythology. In fact, now that I remember, Marvel does have their own version of the Amazons. Wow, that's a long reload time. They have their own version of the Amazons, and Hippolyta in the Marvel universe, unlike DC's Hippolyta, is straight up a villain. It's like, whereas the Hippolyta of DC, she's more about protecting the Amazons and ruling over her people, but is also occasionally willing to help people outside of Themyscira on occasion. And even there was some, let's see, what was it back during, I think it was during the Silver or Golden Age. At some point they did this thing where DC, as a retcon, made Wonder Woman out to be Wonder Woman's mother, like the original, not Themyscira, Hippolyta being the original Wonder Woman before retiring after World War II, after fighting against the Axis powers. And then Wonder Woman later becoming the current Wonder Woman of that time. I think I'm trying to think, when was it? I think it was prior to Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was either prior or after where they did it that way, where Hippolyta would become Wonder Woman for a while, then eventually retire to rule over the Amazons, and eventually Diana would become the current... What the heck is this thing? Oh help, I'm on fire. Oh wait, no, I'm not anymore. I'll save you, citizens! Whoops. I guess freezing people while they're on fire doesn't really help now, does it? Oh well, I'll come back for that later. Also, Hercules is supposed to be one of the good guys, a hero, Marvel. But then when Marvel and DC did one of their few crossovers, Wonder Woman encounters the Hercules of the Marvel universe, and even with all his good intentions of wanting to help, doing the right thing like a usual hero, Wonder Woman is extremely hesitant about it because the Hercules of her universe is almost exactly like her Greek counterpart,
Let me get my cod piece.
with very few, if any, actual redeemable qualities. And that's why she was so hostile towards the Marvel version. Yeah, I can't unfortunately shoot while jumping in
When we're
the air.
done here, I'm gonna take over being boss of the Saints.
That's bullshit. I'm gonna lead the Saints.
We can't both be boss. How about I make you my second in command?
I get to be your Johnny Gat?
Yep.
Fuck right.
Then we can fly all over the galaxy, killing every alien race that gets in our way.
I'll kill all the aliens.
I'll have my homies at my side. We'll take over new planets and create multiple Earths.
I called dibs on Shaundi.
And when I'm sitting on the throne and the universe is groveling at my feet, only then will I let Anthony join us.
I'll follow you anywhere, boss.
Look up! Aliens do exist!
Who are the Burke family? There's no mention of them anywhere throughout this story.
Flying saucer. Takes me back.
None of the generators surrounding it are showing up on the map. Here's one right here. Why can't I activate it?
Ash, what you doing?
Saints Row 4.
What?
I'm playing Saints Row 4.
No, you're in Saints Row. Stop breaking the fourth wall.
Fourth wall. Fourth game.
Besides, you're not playing. Some guy on a couch.
Girl.
Fine, or girl on a couch.
Hot, hottie girl.
Just be serious.
Wait, so they're watching me right now?
Probably. Or they walked away and left the controller on the table.
Wait, they could have left? Where did they go? Why did they leave me here? Don't they love me anymore?
Ashley.
Don't you get it? We've been abandoned. We're gonna die in this spot in our stinking, rotting corpse.
Sheesh, are the Burke family like? Did they help with developing this game,
Alien sex robots.
or did they like win some competition? That's why they get to be in the game, voice acting themselves.
No.
Ash, it's a video game. We can't die.
Oh. Oh, right. And tell them to get back here and play so I don't have to talk to your ass anymore.
How'd I miss? The guy was right in front of me.
I want to go shoot some aliens.
You can't always be shooting people. There's other things to do in the game.
Yeah, like
Like super speed races, elaborate tower climbing, finding and collecting virus-like vehicles, which is really just the old stock activity presented with new context based on the fact that we're in a computer simulation.
What's funny is that technically, well, who is it? John? No, Anthony. Technically, Anthony, unlike Ashley or the other guy, technically he's the one breaking the fourth wall way more often than the others.
I imagine taking out these Zin would be pretty simple.
What are you?
Hey!
Your sister would find a way.
No, Ash is bound by the same rules of the game that I am. She'd be stuck here too.
Fine, whatever, pussy.
Like, he keeps telling them to stop breaking the fourth wall, but he's breaking the fourth wall more than any of them.
That was invigorating.
I guess maybe it's like he's worried about them breaking the fourth wall, thus breaking the game in general.
UFO. Ugly.
When you're the head of state, you set your own rules. And this simulation is the same way.
Ship. Ship. Ship!
Funny how if you say ship enough times, or even if you say it in any particular way, it sounds like you're saying shit. That's just like in The Road to El Dorado, where they played that joke where, who was it? Tulio? The technically more mature, I say technically because they both had their weird moments, but the technically more reasonable, kind of more mature one of the two. He was, yeah, it was him who said that. I'm trying to remember, what was the name of the, Miguel, that was his name. Miguel and Tulio, where they're both trying to escape a ship they were taking prisoner on. and they got on a small boat. And as soon as they got on that boat, it was just a complete disaster from almost the very beginning. And at some point, the boat they're on is about to crash into the big boat they just got off on. They got off of. And as they see the side of the big boat about to crash into them, Tulio shouts out, "Holy shit." Well, with the loud music, the audio and everything, because he literally shouts out, "Holy shit." But it sounds almost like as if he's specifically saying, "Holy shit." Of course, I wonder if they could play a joke like that and people would immediately get it, or if a lot more people, especially parents, watching those kind of movies with their kids would jump to conclusions. Thinking, hey, they were just cursing in that film. Of course, that's almost always the case, how you have a character who, or not a character, but a film that's clearly not kid-friendly, and it's a film that's made for adults, as in it's literally rated R.
Oh God.
And parents would still take their kids to see said film, and some of them would have the nerve to somehow act surprised when they realize, hey, this isn't a kid-friendly movie at all. There's violence, blood, gore, alcohol references, and all this other stuff that's clearly not child or family friendly. Even if someone explains, like, well, of course it's not. It's freaking rated R for a reason. Like with Deadpool. Like Deadpool even explains it in himself. He explains it himself as he's in the middle of stabbing some guy to death with his swords. How he is by no means a hero. In fact, that's something, for whatever weird reason, Colossus himself could not seem to understand. Like, Colossus tried to act like your stereotypical good-natured hero, like he's Superman or something, by trying to convince Deadpool to become one of the good guys. But again, like Deadpool himself made it clear that he's not a good guy. His whole motivation throughout the film is revenge. But I guess because Deadpool is with Marvel, and some people just see the poster, they'll see a guy in a costume, and I guess some of them did see the trailers thinking, oh, this is probably like a superhero film. Because I remember when one of my uncles took me to go see Deadpool, and I saw a few people with their kids in the audience. And I thought to myself, you gotta be kidding me. They know this film is rated R, right? In which case, they better not complain if their kids get traumatized by whatever they see in the film, or if they realize it's not kid-friendly in the slightest. You don't get to complain about something not being kid-friendly when even the posters say it's not a hero film, or when it's specifically rated R. Compared to films like Venom, where, yeah, there's action, there's violence, adult humor, but it's rated, it's rated PG-13. Was it PG-13? Yeah. It doesn't have that R rating because it won't go to that extent. It won't show, like, whenever Venom bites people's heads off, Venom, She-Venom, any of the symbiotes doing something violent, it doesn't show any blood. It doesn't show any gory details of someone's head being bitten off. They just do the camera angle in a way where you know someone's head just got bitten clean off. Man, I hate these ragdoll missions.
I want some real music.
Ouch.
Oh God.
Trying to crash into stuff. Come on.
Merde.
Quit cutting me off!
Jumper cable should get my head examined. This is a bad idea.
Ow! Woohoo! All right!
Holy shit!
You know what saddens me a bit is so many popular characters who haven't had a solo film in so long.
Oh god.
Like Hulk. Hulk was one of the original films used to set up the MCU before Avengers came out. And so far, all he's ever had...
That bridge explosion totally freaks me out. What if
all he's ever had was just that one film back in... What was it? 2006? 2007? 2008? I think it was 2008. Where he originally fought Abomination. And they were... oh my goodness. And they set it up in a way that made it seem like we were gonna eventually get the leader. But for some reason, they just pulled the plug on that idea. And Abomination, he doesn't show up again until Shang-Chi. And even in Shang-Chi, it was specifically just a fixed fight he had with Wong from Doctor Strange.
Almost, and there goes my rib.
Y'all got nothing on me.
Have to make this convincing.
I own this.
And dang it. It's rare for me to get silver in these.
I'm unstoppable.
Also, yeah, also there's Superman. So far, Superman has only had one film, that being Man of Steel. And sure, both of them have showed up in plenty of other films from their cinematic universes, but that's it. So far, other appearances they made throughout their cinematic universes were just team-up films, where first he fights, then teams up with Batman, alongside with teaming up with Wonder Woman against Doomsday. Then he shows up in Justice League, where yet again he fights the Justice League before later joining them and fighting against Steppenwolf. And he makes a cameo. He makes a cameo appearance in Shazam, and even then, it barely counts as a cameo because, like, yeah, it's the character himself, but clearly not the same actor. That's why in Shazam, when he makes his cameo appearance, they don't show his face. They just show him from like the neck down. They just got some other guy besides Henry Cavill, because for some crazy reason, the guys running the DCEU, was it WB? Warner Brothers?
So, I won't.
For some reason, they... what was the point of them hiring Henry Cavill as Superman if in the end all they were gonna do is... what the hell was I even going with that? It's just ridiculous. Why bother going through the trouble of hiring someone like Henry Cavill if this is how you're gonna treat him? Like, he did a pretty good job with Man of Steel and whatnot. Hell, part of the reason why people like me wanted to see Justice League was because of knowing that that's supposedly Superman's supposed to come back to life, as hinted at the end of, oh my goodness, as hinted at the end of Batman v Superman, that he would come back to life, and with Batman wanting to get a league together to combat any future threats, they would have that as well. A method by which to fight threats from that are beyond Earth's control, something like that. Not only that, but the fact that they've even made another Batman series without Ben Affleck, because they said supposedly Ben Affleck is still gonna play Batman in the upcoming Flash film Flashpoint, whenever that gets released. And now there's no guarantee we're even gonna get Flashpoint, or at the very least the original date we were supposed to get it. We may not get that because I don't know what's going on with Ezra Miller. Urza? Yeah, it's Ezra. I don't know why I keep thinking Urza. Anyways, I don't know what the heck's going on with Ezra Miller right now, but apparently he's been getting into some stuff he shouldn't be getting into. And some of it supposedly involving a minor. And I'm like, oh god, please don't let that be the case. Like, not even for the sake of him being able to still play the Flash, but just for the sake of, I hope it's not true. Because, well, why would I want it to be true? Why would I want the idea of him messing with, or any adult messing with kids, be true? Like, yes, you do get creeps out there who do seem to think they can put their hands on kids and can't keep them hands to themselves. Oh my fucking goodness. But there are those who end up being falsely accused because parents want a quick payout, and they figure the easiest way to do so is by falsely accusing someone who's famous so they can get a big payout. Some people are disgusting like that. And if that all turns out to be true, they're gonna have to hire someone else to play the Flash, because clearly they wouldn't want their films being associated with a pedophile, or a pedophile being, you know what I mean. And almost every new film that comes out, whether it's Shazam or even with Black Adam, I keep seeing these headlines where, oh, I hate these dang towers. I hate these towers. Where supposedly this person or that person, they're gonna make this film, or they're gonna star in this film, and said film is gonna change the course of the DCEU. And then that film either fails or it does a pretty good job. It does pretty decently. People like it. It sells pretty well, actually. But then the next film that comes out goes almost nowhere. And they're like, alright, this is the film that's going to change the course of the DCEU. And that falls through, or that plan straight up fails. It's almost like what happened with the Dark Universe, where they were originally where they started with The Mummy back in 2017, and the next film that came out was supposed to be Bride of Frankenstein. Johnny Depp was signed on to play the Invisible Man. And how originally Dracula Untold, that was supposed to be the first film that was supposed to kick off the DC, not the DCEU, but the Dark Universe. Essentially it was supposed to be the Iron Man of what they were trying to do with the Dark Universe, but clearly that didn't work out so well. And I think, what was it? I think there was supposed to be another film or two even before Dracula Untold that they originally wanted to use to kick off the Dark Universe, and those films also failed.
Nice spot for a picnic.
So eventually they just decided, you know what? Screw all these other past films. Let's just use The Mummy to kick off the Dark Universe. And their very first film, The Mummy, failed so spectacularly. It was such an epic fail that they had no choice but to pull the plug entirely. Like, some sources were saying how because of how badly that film failed, they would have to get it right with the second film, Bride of Frankenstein, if they want to kick off the Dark Universe properly. Also, one thing I heard is that the people who make Universal Pictures, they were supposedly gonna sue not Warner Brothers. What was it? Legendary Films or Legendary Pictures, whatever the hell their name is specifically. But yeah, Legendary, they were supposedly gonna sue Universal. Supposedly, I think it was just a rumor though. Sue. Let's see. I'm trying to get my information together. And I think it was just a rumor, where Legendary was supposedly going to be sued by Universal for the name of their universe. Legendary's name of their universe being called the Monsterverse, and Universal wanted that name since their universe involves these classic monsters that were not owned, obviously, but portrayed by Universal Films, Universal Pictures. And that's confusing. Pictures, films, whatever the last name and whatever film company is supposed to be. But obviously that failed through, so they had no choice but to go with Dark Universe. And honestly, that would have made more sense if they were to call themselves the not Dark Universe, if they called themselves the Monsterverse, and with Legendaries, with their films Godzilla versus Godzilla, King Kong, and all the mothers. If they, sheesh, how further in the circle you want me to be? Oh, there we go. But anyways, if the Monsterverse instead called themselves the Kaiju Verse, and well,
when
so
you have a message,
Dark Universe would instead be the Monsterverse.
And make sure it's big. Just like leveling a city.
I don't know what Kaiju. I don't think many people will complain about it being called the Kaiju Verse. Or they probably could have even called it the Titan Verse, because it was. In fact, I don't think Godzilla back in. Yeah, the first film in their series, Godzilla, which came out, I think it was also 2014. That one didn't call itself. They didn't call them kaijus in that film, but rather instead what did they call the monsters in film? Like, yeah, obviously people who watched the film refer to them as kaiju, but what did the people in said lore call them back in 2014? Because come Godzilla King of the Monsters, they were referred to specifically as Titans.
You have a plan this time, right?
Ah, shut up, Kenzie.
I'm on my way.
Hell yeah, I'm the shit.
Oh man, look at all these glitching people. It's creepy. Oh my goodness! Got jumped by some crazy glitches with a baseball bat. Everyone stop glitching out on me.
You have to.
It's on the way.
Oh, right.
Oh goodness. Got ridiculously long limbs like a freaking spider. Creepy as hell. So all I can say is so far, as far as cinematic universes and everything goes, obviously the most successful one right now is the MCU. And the second, well, I say second most successful being the MonsterVerse Legendaries films. Well, yeah, they have less films, but then again, I don't think they were planning on having that many compared to what Marvel has. Not to mention, by the time, when did Godzilla come out? Well, anyways, by the time we got a second film in the MonsterVerse with Godzilla, King of the Monsters, no, it was Kong. Kong was the second film. Godzilla, King of the Monsters was just the first sequel to a film within the MonsterVerse. But anyways, Marvel already had a whole bunch of films to get put together before we got even the first Godzilla film back in 2014. Since we had Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and Captain America, the first Avenger. And Captain America, the first Avenger, was back in... Well, that was back in, what, 2010? Yeah, we got Captain America in 2010. And then Avengers in 2012. And not to mention, they're not even rumors anymore, but definite plans on continuing the MonsterVerse. The only thing I don't know for sure is if it's going to be in the form of comic books, TV shows, or another movie. As far with, yeah, not just Godzilla, but Kong as well. Ideas for a Son of Kong. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna do a Son of Godzilla or anything. Hey, wouldn't that be cool if for the MonsterVerse they brought back Godzilla Jr. Like similar to how he was portrayed in what was it? Not Showa Heisei era. Just a little dude at first, but then eventually he grows up to be around 100 meters. Not 100 meters, 100 feet tall, like how he was in Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, where he grew up. Obviously nowhere near as tall as Godzilla, but definitely much bigger than any human compared to how he first appeared in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
You shut down a good portion of the city protocols. All that things are getting a little strange there. Well, I guess the whole thing isn't exactly normal to begin with, but you get the idea.
Gee, thanks, Kinsey. I wonder why I didn't just bother running around this place. I could have just run around instead of trying to jump all the way up. Man, that's so bright. But yeah, that would be cool. Bring back Godzilla Jr. and again, his portrayal or his development is a lot like how he was in the Heisei era. Starts off as a little guy, very shy, would sooner run away considering he's just a child, not even a teenager. Then he shows up yet again and got like how he does in Godzilla vs. Destroyer as a young adult or as a teenager, whatever the case. And gets into his first official fight, that being against Destroyer. Or technically one of Destroyer's weaker forms. And maybe they could probably use that as a way to bring in Destroyer. I guess this is about as high as you can go. Good thing there's no height I can't jump from that won't kill me. Ooh, is this a Mayhem mission? I hope so. Mayhem missions are so dang fun. Doesn't even have to be in particular. I get points just from destroying and shooting at anything. Oh, where you going, man? You ain't escaping me. I'm in a freaking spaceship, you fool.
Nobody does it better.
I don't know why, but for some reason I just can't get over how they portrayed Kong, in the MonsterVerse, as far as, at least compared overall to Godzilla. Like I would have been, I'm fine with Godzilla being the stronger one, but it's just that they could have had their strengths a little bit closer. Thus, that way, like, have them where their strength is much closer to each other, but Godzilla still being the stronger one, therefore Kong would still need to be the faster one. Faster and more versatile, whereas like Godzilla would just rely entirely on what his body is capable of. Well, Kong would too, obviously, but at the same time, he would also rely on his intelligence, like not just whatever raw power he has. And I really do wish they would have given Kong the power of electricity, to give him an elemental ability, just like what they did for Godzilla. Because for some reason, in the years leading up to Godzilla versus Kong, when it was announced that that's what we were gonna get towards the end, after Godzilla King of the Monsters, like even before Godzilla King of the Monsters came out. When did Godzilla King of the Monsters come out? That was like, what, 2016, I think it was? For some reason, a lot of people were being so hostile about it, talk about how the film's gonna suck, or it's stupid to have Godzilla going up against Kong because Kong's too small. Like they'll say, oh, Kong's barely the size of up to Godzilla's knee. Godzilla could just easily stomp him. And as they said, they explained in Kong Skull Island how Kong was just a child. Like they explained it in the film. Who was it? Hank Marlowe? He said so himself, that Kong may be the less of his kind, but he's still growing. And the developer said how Kong in that film was just a teenager, an adolescent, nowhere near full grown or even a young adult.
You know, this all really takes.
But for some reason, anytime you tell that to people, it would just make some people even more mad, actually, which I don't get it. Like they will say Kong's too small, Godzilla will stomp him easily, and they'll say he's gonna get bigger. They said so in the film, and the developers went out of their way to explain that Kong's not full grown. And for plenty of it, for those who were just straight up hating on Kong or becoming hostile with Kong fans, for some reason, for them, for the Godzilla fanboys who were really like just kissing Godzilla's ass so much, for them that wasn't good enough. Like one guy was making the usual argument yet again about Kong being too small. Godzilla just had to step on him and he could kill him easily. And they would explain yet again how Kong's just still growing. He's gonna get bigger. And this guy in particular said not good enough, come up with another excuse. And it's like, no, they don't need another excuse. That's all there is to it. Like if it's just a matter of Kong just needed time to get bigger, and as he ages, what more could you possibly need? Of course, no matter what, you're always gonna have those where they just don't want that other character to win. They love this one character so much that they want that character to win absolutely. Because the Godzilla versus King Kong debate
did the pause anyway, fuck me.
is also exactly like this. It's like the Goku versus Superman
Why
debate,
not? I need to stretch my legs.
where I see some people taking all the advantages of one character, like give one character all the advantages, but give the other character all the disadvantages. Like the number of people who keep trying, like even before from the original Goku versus Superman that Screw-Attack's Death Battle did, where Goku's most powerful form, even if it was non-canon, was Super Saiyan 4, not counting any fusions at all. And how that itself still wasn't as fast or as strong as Superman shown in comics.
No, I have to say, I was surprised.
But then came Goku vs Superman 2, where they did that one. Now that Goku got Super Saiyan Blue, which was that was his most powerful at that point. From Resurrection F. That's why for me the Goku versus Superman debate is stupid. Because I'm thinking, why of all people should Goku have to worry about defeating a character who's from another comic book company, from a completely different series that's unrelated? Or how everything in their universe works completely different from Goku's universe. Like it shouldn't even matter at this point. Like there's plenty of other fictional characters from other animes, mangas, from comic books, TV shows or whatever, that Goku would be better off fighting. I can't think of any other examples. But yeah, there's still plenty of people for Goku to find his universe first. But the number of people I see where they supposedly did the math or the calculations saying that Goku at Super Saiyan 2 could easily defeat Superman. And like they would say that, but they don't do any actual calculations. They don't bring any evidence. That's why a lot of these debates, rather if it's something that actually happens in a film or that's happened more than once, like Godzilla and King Kong fighting. Because Godzilla vs. Kong back in did it? No, it was delayed until 2021. But anyways, it was Godzilla vs. Kong back in 2021, and King Kong vs. Godzilla way back in somewhere in the early 1960s. And obviously, it's like it's as everyone knows, how a battle goes depends on what the writers want, what the writers are trying to accomplish. Like we fans can come up with all these theories and ideas, do all these calculations, all the mathematics, the scans from whatever panels we can find, or whatever scenes and whatever movie we see that we can get our hands on, and say, well, that concludes that this character would beat this character based on this and that calculation. So films like Godzilla vs. Kong and King Kong vs. Godzilla, it makes those debates actually a lot easier because we've seen the battles happen. Like King Kong, he won back in the original, back in 1962 in King Kong vs. Godzilla.
You shut down a good portion of the city protocol.
Oh, shut up, Kinsey.
Getting a little strange there. Well, I guess the whole
But then,
exactly
come their rematch from Legendary Pictures, Godzilla ends up winning. Like Kong did manage to win a round, but it was. But as far as the whole best 2 out of 3, Godzilla won 2 out of 3. He won their first fight. Then he won the first round. Second round, Kong won. But their third round,
we can't hide from the Zen.
The third round, Godzilla won. Eventually. But of course, a lot of people were actually saying how Godzilla vs. Kong was gonna go like Batman v Superman, where they fight each other at first, then finally they end up teaming up together at the end. And of course, Godzilla vs. Kong did exactly that. It's just that the reason why they were able to do it without it pissing off fans or seeming corny was because, well, there was really nothing to stop them. If anything, Godzilla really just wanted, he just wanted to not necessarily kill, but just defeat Kong and get him to submit. Which obviously, being an Alpha Titan himself, and not to mention his sheer level of stubbornness, Kong absolutely refused. Which did manage to earn Godzilla's respect, so Godzilla decided to just leave him to die at that point. Did Godzilla know Kong would eventually have died if it wasn't for the humans stepping in? Man, it sucks what they did to Kong that way. Because, as it shows, unfortunately, in the MonsterVerse, even the most powerful Kong is nowhere near as strong as the most powerful, or even the average Godzilla. Like, the average Godzilla is far more powerful than even the strongest, the mightiest of the Kongs.
Kinsey says racing
which is why,
which
is absolutely why it's for any Kong to stand up against Godzilla's or Gojira's, whatever you want to call it specifically, for any of them to stand a chance. Not only did they have to start utilizing weapons, utilizing the Gojira's dorsal plates and fashioning them into weapons to use against them to absorb their atomic energy, they also had to strategize, either leading individual Godzillas away from the group and attacking them in an ambush. In other words, it would require a bunch of, however many, 3, 4, 5 Kongs working together to attack and ambush just one Godzilla, just to stand a chance. That was the only way they were going to stand a chance. Ambush tactics, guerrilla warfare, using weapons that specifically absorb and counter their atomic energy. And that's just, again, a whole group against just one. Man, they did not want Kong to win. So that sucks. It really does. And I say that because I'm a huge fan of King Kong. But hey, I'm just glad we got a universe. Well, we did have, for some reason, almost any other universe where Kong goes up against Godzilla, it needs to be big enough to go up against someone like Godzilla. Like what they did with King Kong versus Godzilla, where not only was Kong bigger than his usual portrayal in films, bigger and stronger to be able to go up against Godzilla, but also he lives at the very end. Damn, Toho basically gave more love to Kong than a lot of other companies did in so many years. Legendary being the second company to make a film or a series of films where Kong survives at the very end. He doesn't just automatically die. Especially not at the hands of the humans. Although a lot of people try to say how Kong stood no... Well, obviously, as the developers written them, and as we've seen the films, Kong's nowhere near as strong as Godzilla, unfortunately. So let's see. For Kong to be able to fight against Godzilla for as long as he had, or even at all, for one, it would have to be on land, because Kong can't swim, but he can't breathe, nor can he move underwater in the same way Godzilla can. So it has to be somewhere where even if there is water, the water is obviously nowhere near as deep as the damn ocean. Somewhere where Godzilla can't just simply drag Kong underwater and drown him. Oh man, all the advantages Kong would need just to be able to stand a chance, just to bring things in his favor. An environment that he can thrive in and move around to outmaneuver Godzilla. A weapon specifically using another Godzilla's, or what is the name for Godzilla's species? Titanus Gojira? Something like that, I guess. Utilizing a Gojira's dorsal plates to absorb Godzilla's atomic energy. And the fact that even before their fight, when Godzilla sensed what was going on in the Hollow Earth And but we never did get a specific time period for how much time Godzilla spent using his atomic breath just to drill a hole towards the hollow earth. But supposedly he was doing it for a good long while. Like it wasn't even just a few minutes, but about an hour, maybe more than an hour. And doing so drained Godzilla of his reserve energy. Not to the point where it'd be fatal for him, but just enough where he wouldn't be 100% at full power. Like half, or maybe a little over half full power, something like that. So thus, a weapon, an environment he could thrive in, and Godzilla draining much of his energy prior, a couple of hours of draining his energy. What was another thing they had to do specifically? Oh, and Godzilla not taking the fight serious. So how many is that? Environment, weapon, Godzilla's mindset, Godzilla draining his energy. Yeah, so that's 4. That's 4 things that had to happen prior for Kong to be able to stand a chance against Godzilla. That's just like in Batman v Superman. No wonder people kept comparing those two so much. Even before Kong or Godzilla vs. Kong came out, there was just all these comparisons. Where just like Batman, to be able to take on someone like Superman, he needed a whole lot of prep time.
I found an insert.
Like he needed a weapon made of kryptonite. He needed an environment that had all these traps and other weapons for him to use to distract Superman or disorientate him, even if only temporarily. And he had to take advantage of Superman's mindset, where in that fight Batman was aiming to kill. Like first he was gonna humiliate him first, then eventually kill Superman. Where Superman didn't have the intention of wanting to kill Batman or even try to actually fight him. But of course Superman became much more of a threat when he actually started actively fighting back. So yeah, in that case, in Godzilla vs. Kong, Kong is Batman and Godzilla is Superman. Because like Superman, Godzilla didn't have the intention of killing Kong. Like if anything, he was just toying with Kong. I was just having fun. Like figuring he would just let Kong take out his frustration and his anger, just let it out. But then realizing Kong has the potential to kill him if he's not careful, then like Superman, when he got hit with that kryptonite and started to recover, Godzilla's like, alright, you had your fun, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass now. And straight up went all feral on him. Damn, Zinyak, go away.
You have a plan this time, right?
You know, if I had to do anything differently for Kong in the Monsterverse, what I would have done it was that, at least as far as lore is concerned, the average Kong maybe would be only slightly, not by a huge amount, but only slightly. Seriously, emphasis on only slightly weaker, at least in terms of physical strength, slightly weaker than the average Godzilla, but still able to compete, where the average Kong can fight the average Godzilla in a one-on-one fight and at least have a chance to win as long as they play their cards right. So that way, if they were to defeat a Godzilla, it'd be like, it'd be high difficulty.
I want to be Sweet Baby Charles.
Therefore, that way when Godzilla and Kong fight each other, when they had their second round, Kong would have had the potential to defeat Godzilla with his own strength without needing to rely on a weapon specifically, but it'd still be a highly difficult fight. And at the same time, I would also give Kong, like I said, I don't care how many people try to argue somehow that Kong or a giant gorilla, a giant primate having electricity is unrealistic. You don't get to complain about something like that being unrealistic when you have a giant reptilian like Godzilla firing atomic energy from his mouth. There's nothing realistic about a reptilian not only being that size, but also being able to absorb and manipulate atomic energy like Godzilla does. Like, all arguments of realism go out the door immediately when you bring Godzilla into the picture. So if you can have a giant reptilian like Godzilla shooting atomic energy, you can have a giant primate like Kong doing the same thing Godzilla does, only with some other element. And that's exactly what they did in King Kong vs. Godzilla. As a way to counteract Godzilla's ability to manipulate and control atomic energy. In other words, an element, a natural occurring element, King Kong could do so with electricity. Right, if it's the electricity he absorbs from the environment, or if it's straight up lightning from a thunderstorm. So yeah, there's really no reason at all why they couldn't do the why Legendary couldn't do the same for Kong. Like, yeah, they gave him a weapon because, yeah, obviously being a primate, being very intelligent, Kong should be able to utilize anything he gets his hands on as a weapon. So that's mainly that. Like, I would buff up Kong's strength to be much closer to Godzilla, so that way the whole thing with Godzilla needing to drain his energy and not take the fight serious and just have fun with it at first, in my version, it wouldn't be that. It'd be both of them from the very beginning are absolutely trying to kill each other, trying to murder one another. No holding back. But it's just that both of them are would be a lot closer in strength, and Kong would have the ability to manipulate an element himself as well, that being electricity. Like, he would still be weaker than Godzilla, just not to such an extent. That way it would be a high difficulty fight. Kind of like Godzilla's fight against Ghidorah.
I don't have it.
Only whereas Ghidorah was stronger and more powerful than Godzilla, it'd be the other way around with them. As I keep saying, Godzilla would still be the stronger one, just not to the point where he would absolutely wreck Kong as he could have if he was at full power and trying to kill him from the very beginning. Oh my goodness, Kenzie, shut up.
There. Well, I guess the whole thing isn't exactly normal to begin with, but you get the idea.
You know, as far as fights like that where it's clear one person not only has to, like, one person has to have everything going his way, and the other one has to have almost nothing going for them to an extent, just for one to stand a chance against the other. That's also like in the Kengan series, specifically Kengan Ashura. And by that, I mean specifically Ryan versus Takeda Oma. For Takeda to be able to defeat Ryan, whatever, to defeat Ryan Kurei, Ryan had to be using absolutely no techniques, just all brute force. Because Ryan literally said so himself that if he were to use any of the Kurei techniques, the fight would end too soon. Which makes sense, as he showed when Ryan started using techniques during his fight against whoever the hell the other guy was. Yeah, Alan Wu. Hold on, I was thinking Lu Tian, or Lu Xin, whatever. In his fight against Alan Wu and the King and Omega, Ryan started using techniques. And you know, even before he started using techniques during his fight against Alan, Ryan was still wrecking him. It's just like he had to start using techniques a bit more once Alan started busting out the release technique, or what was the Wu factions? What their version of the release was called? I forgot what it's called, but anyways, it's a lot like release, just unlocking the body's full potential and everything. And even without using release himself, Ryan. So we'll see. Alan Wu stood no chance against Ryan, even with that, whatever that technique that was a lot like the Kurei clan's release technique. But once he unleashed it, Ryan had to use techniques without the Kurei clan release ability, and he was just embarrassing him. So the absence of using any technique. I need to concentrate a bit. Man, you better not destroy that damn car, Anthony. Sweet, we're getting to steal an armored truck. Get in the... You absolute dumbass bitch.
Yeah, versatility of the power customization is impressive.
What's in this now?
Oh my goodness, Ashley, you dumbass bitch. Now the damn vehicle's got a pop tire, it is not going to be a fun ride. Now, where was I? So, well, Alan Wu was a lot like how Ryan was in King and Ashura. He didn't have any techniques to speak of besides that little power-up he had. And he was only using that in a combination with his brute strength to fight against Ryan. But even with that little buff he had from that transformation technique, Ryan wasn't using. From what I remember, Ryan wasn't using his transformation, the release state. He just started fighting more serious, even if only a bit, and was using techniques, using actual martial arts skills to easily dominate in his fight against Alan. But for Takeda Oma, unlike Alan Wu, Oma himself had... Well, he was very strong, but obviously not as strong as Ryan, at least at that time. It took whatever techniques he knows from the Nico style. So we'll see a combination of the Nico style techniques, the advanced technique, as well as Ryan holding back and prolonging the battle, and not using any techniques of any kind, relying entirely on brute strength. It took all that just for Oma to not only stand a chance, but to eventually win. I'm trying to think, was there another factor in all that for Oma just to stand a chance of beating Ryan? So that's really all there is to it. Oma needing both the advanced and almost every Nico style technique, at least the ones he was shown to use, as well as eventually be taking a bit more passive counter base style, combined with Ryan's refusal to use any techniques, just rely entirely on brute strength. And he only used release just to keep up with Oma's advance.
Found some more ways to show Zinyak who's really in charge here. I'll walk you through it.
Sounds good to me.
Man, there's like this weird, almost this weird emphasis on transformations or power-ups throughout Kingen. Like in Baki the Grappler, there's a few characters like Pickle and Baki and Yujiro. Didn't Yujiro have the demon back as well? With them having, yeah, the Hama family having the demon back. But that's just it. Just the Hama family minus Jack, unfortunately, at least so far, and Pickle having these transformations, and that's really about it. And even then, they only really like use them occasionally. Like occasionally enough to where we know they have them, but they don't really use them that often. Especially Baki with the demon back, or even the demon brain that he developed. And even with Pickle, his quote-unquote transformation, if you can even call it that, is more subtle. Where he just really changes up his posture. And so let's see, just a combination of Pickle changing up his posture and his muscles, damn near looking like they're transforming or getting bigger in a very grotesque way. There's no name for it, but yeah, what would you even call that? Well, anyways, those like the only characters who have as the closest thing to a quote-unquote transformation.
The line and shaking up the establishment, like those riffs around town, you know.
I need to find out more missions I can do with Kinsey so I can open up gateways. I guess that's just through the main missions for now, since that's technically what you're doing for the most part. Just like the most part, the main missions you do in the beginning is just a bunch of random missions going around doing this and doing that all over the place, just so you can have more gateways open.
Run along the path, collecting bits of virus along the data stream.
Dang it, Sid, you're not supposed to show up till later. But yeah, like I said, those are the only people I could think of. Yujiro, and Baki Hanma with their demon abilities. Demon back, demon brain, whichever. But just primarily demon back. And Pickle with his posture change and muscle contortion. So that's really about it. This whole thing with transformations and power-ups and whatnot, it's not really much of a thing in Baki. Besides the ones I just mentioned. Whereas in Kingen, it's even more of a case. Like throughout Kingen Ashura, there was Oma's advanced technique Oh wow.
If I begin cheering, will it help?
Let's see. Characters like Oma having advanced, the entire Kure clan having the release transformation. Also, Kengan, as far as like how their transformations and power-ups work, is more specific versus Baki's, where it's basically transformation just takes everything you have and makes you do it even better. But also, unlike Baki, transformations in Kengan, they have both their positive, they have their pros and cons. Have plenty of good stuff for them to use, but plenty of drawbacks to them as well. Like, even for a character as physically fit as Ryan, he can only use the release state for so long, and using it really just straight up drains him of his stamina. So he can't remain in that state forever. And Oma using the advanced, whereas so the release state for the Kure clan, it just gives them more access to, allows them to use a higher percentage of their brain functions. Being able to, so I don't think it's like really, it doesn't really help to increase something like physical strength. So it's not so much increasing physical strength, but just releasing or letting go of whatever it is, whatever function is in your brain that causes you to hold back how much muscle power overall you use.
You do better than I had anticipated.
Like the part of your brain that causes you to hold back and not use as much strength, the release state allows you to bypass that. It's a limit breaker. Kind of like Goku's Ultra Instinct. Its purpose is just to break whatever natural limits your mind places on your body. So it's not that you become stronger and faster than what you than usual. It's that with release, whatever strength and speed you naturally have at full capacity, now you can use it. Because your brain is no longer allowing you to hold back consciously or subconsciously.
Why should you climb this tower? Because it's there.
Gee, thanks, Keith. And with Oma's advance, the way Oma's advanced technique works is that it doesn't increase strength. What it does is that it kicks the heart into overdrive. So it kicks the heart, it basically kicks your heart to overdrive, pumping more blood throughout your system. And it's supposed to like, it basically helps increase your speed. It's almost essentially like a super powered adrenaline rush. Well, the problem is, it's just like in real life. Too much adrenaline, too much of your, like if your heart starts pumping blood through your body too fast, you run the risk of having a heart attack. Or even certain organs just straight up bursting, like your heart or whatnot. That's part of the reason why high blood pressure or having a lot of stress is bad for the human body. Thus leading people to end up in hospitals from high blood pressure, having heart strokes and everything from all the stress.
Sure, I'll be right there. Wait, you didn't invite Ash, did you? I did the pause anyway, fuck me.
So I think that's why, for at least for Oma, let's see, for Oma and who else had their transformation? There was in the King and Omega. There was Fei Wang. What was it? Fei Wang Fang? Wang Feng? Anyways, the guy who fought, who the hell was it?
It is a burden to be so magnificent.
In the first of the 3 final matches. Oh no. It was the second to last fight. In other words, essentially the semi-final in the Kengan versus Purgatory tournament, when Faye went into the ring to fight Wakatsuki Takeshi, and his transformation, possessing spirit? No, I forget what. I forgot what it's called. It was either something like possessing spirit, divine spirit. In other words, it's essentially supposed to be a more powerful version of Oma's advanced technique. It's like something to that extent.
Oh, I want to be Sweet Baby Charles.
I can't kill that shit.
So anyways, it's supposed to be like Oma's advanced technique, but better. But at the same time, it also ends up wrecking the body. In fact, both of them technically wreck the body worse than the Kure clan's advanced technique. And even the Kure clan's advanced technique itself is not perfect, due to the fact that it drains the stamina so fast.
There's gone. Guess I'll never know what really happened to him. Wait. Unless he's somewhere on this ship.
And even with someone as physically fit being the most powerful member of the Kure clan, Ryan. Because who else? No, Ryan's the only person. Wait, what about Ariel? Did Ariel have 100% release? I don't know. But definitely by the time of his old age, he couldn't use 100% 100% release. Ryan is so far the only person from Throughout King and Ashura, and even going into Omega, can unleash 100% of his release state. The second highest being Carla. And didn't Carla have like wasn't it somewhere in the 90s or 80s, the percentage of her release? Something like that. So even with him being able to release 100% of his advance, did I just do this one earlier? I'm pretty sure I did this tower earlier. No, now that I think about it, yeah, I think it was a different one. But anyways, even with 100% release state of his release state, and even without release, Ryan is so ridiculously strong and fit to begin with, and even he can't use his release state for long without it wrecking his stamina. How the hell am I supposed to get up there? Yeah, so far just about every transformation, whether it's
at some point repopulating the human race is going to come
whether
up.
it's
I'm just
the
saying,
Kure clan's release, the Wu factions, whatever their version of the release state is, the Nico style advanced technique, and whatever the hell it was Faye was using, all their techniques, which are just blatant power-ups, damn near almost Dragon Ball style power-ups. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, but I don't know. I think out of all of them, I think I would rather have the Kure clan's release technique.
You shut down a good portion of the city protocol. I'll bet things are getting a little strange there. Well, I guess the whole thing isn't exactly normal to begin with, but you get the idea.
Man, Kenzie likes to repeat herself. Man, I don't think I ever collected that many clusters, or at least hold on to that many at once. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, the Kyurei clan's release technique. So far, the only drawback to it is that it drains your stamina. So that's why, out of all of them, I'd rather have the advanced technique. Or not advanced, the release ability. Of course, the weird thing is that the reason why so far only the Kyurei clan has specifically release, and why it works for them, is because it's just like with real world body functions. There's only the reason why your body limits how much strength it can use. It's not even just out of fear, out of whatever natural fear of hurting yourself, but also there have been cases where people have been shown using even more of their latent strength and speed than what's considered average for a human. It's just that usually those only happen. Dang it! I should have just let that one alone. The reason why in those cases those happen very rarely in like life or death situations, and it leaves people with permanent injuries like permanent muscle tears and some other kind of horrible scarring. And the Kyurei family, they're able to activate so much of their brain functions to make themselves, well, they're already superhuman, every single one of them, well, to an extent. Some are just more superhuman than others, like how Carla is definitely more superhuman naturally than other members of the Kyurei clan, whereas Ryan is the most blatantly superhuman out of all of them. And Iriel was a lot like Ryan when he was much younger. And that's because the Kyurei family, their ability comes from
There's gone. Guess I'll never know what really happened.
I don't know if it's like thousands or if it's specifically hundreds of thousands of years. But anyways, many years of a selective breeding process. Whichever naturally born member of the Kyurei clan seeking out specific individuals to birth a new generation of Kyureis. Wait a minute. Where's my mic? Here we go. So it's a specific breeding process that the Kyurei clan went through, just so that anyone who uses the release state can do so without leaving any permanent damage or automatically killing them. And even then, some members can only activate or use the release state to such an extent. That's why someone as crazy and insane but incredibly strong as Ryan is, he's so far the only Kyurei member alive who can do 100%. And Carla, what is it like? 90, it's somewhere between 90 to 95%, and that she can use the release technique or activate 90 to 95% of her brain. How many times did Ryan use the release state? It was, he used it even if to a small extent, like he can use it, activate it anytime he wants for that 100% whatever the hell, because he activated it at least when fighting against Mokichi Robinson. And I'm pretty sure it was very much his intention to kill Mokichi. And the only reason why Mokichi survived was because that insane Dr. Hanafusa stepped in at the last second. Or was able to get to him when he could and operated to save his life. But then he used it and got a bit more serious during his fight against Doma.
That's why you're the commander-in-chief.
You know, now that I think about it, I take it back. I wouldn't want any of those transformation techniques.
Second turn, Keith.
Oh, sweet! Active turned politician. Do everything you can for your VP, Vice President. Quest, loyalty missions, everything. Oh, I haven't done everything I can for Benjamin, for Asha, Sid, Shandi, Pierce, Matt, Kenzie, the full Kenzie. Why is it called the full Kenzie? But yeah, there's no transformation or power up in the Kengan series that I've seen that doesn't have its downsides. Even for a transformation specific or unique to the Kure clan, even with their thousands of years of breeding process that they went through long before the modern times, even someone with 100% like really like Ryan cannot use it without it draining his stamina so rapidly. That's why both in his fight against Mokichi and his fight against Oma, both times he could only use it once.
I think it'd be best to start at
Planet Zin. If I endeavor to take a store back from Zinyak, then I want his crown jewel.
Okay, good point.
Planet Zin. Oh gosh.
So you should be able to hack it from right outside the door.
The hell is Ghost supposed to mean? Remember, I think the first time I heard it, Sienna Dimitrescu used that word.
Kinsey's job is easy.
I know, it's supposed to be like some kind of insulting term.
Oops,
I guess like another word for disgusting or something like that.
I think I can cut off the outside security program from the rest of the stores, so no, it shouldn't happen again.
Merci. Now, to make my escape.
No wait, don't. I want to see how their reaction protocols work.
You may like shooting me full of holes?
Wine, wine, wine.
This is my town.
What?
The gendarme just transformed into Zin.
Looks like they're stepping up security even more.
Police?
Be careful.
I'm learning French words as I'm playing this game and having fun.
And now more Zin drop out of nowhere? Not fair.
Those are access portals. You should be able to destroy them to stop more soldiers from showing up.
Excellent.
Hold on. Look at that gold floating robot thing. I think it's controlling the security program here.
And your point?
So if you catch the golden orb and shut it down...
Come to me, you little monster. Kinsey, success!
Great. At least you have a way to get the Zin off your back now, so keep that in mind. Remember, this is only the beginning. With everything we're going to throw at Zinyak, he won't know what hit him.
Wait, who else also had their own pseudo transformations? There was also who was it? Oh yeah, Ima Cosmo. And I think it was one of those, it was more of a psychological transformation than it was a physical. Whenever he flips his hair up, making it look spikier, and he gets a crazy look in his eyes. So yeah, that's one of the transformations throughout Kengan that's purely psychological than it is physical, where he just, again, he flips his hair and becomes more serious almost looking like a Blood Knight without actually being one.
Saints rule.
Who else also has a transformation that's more psychological? Oh yeah, Kano Agito, where there's like his baseline state that's like almost completely stoic and expressionless and just fights with very basic martial arts. But then, should the opponent he's fighting bring out the Blood Knight in him, then he becomes his what's called the true Kano Agito, the crazy, pupilless, wide smile, wide grinning individual, looking like a damn psychopath, like a serial killer type person. So that's another transformation which, like Imai, Cosmo, or Cosmo Imai, whatever, where it's a transformation, but it's a transformation that's more psychological than physical. Whereas like now he's taking the fight more serious, and he does change, and he also changes up his fighting style, using formless instead of just your average martial arts or whatever. But also specifically in King and Ashura, that maybe not entirely from what I've seen, it hasn't entirely gone away, but now in King and Omega, since it was almost like a form of multi-personality disorder, where instead he now was able to combine his personalities together, the more stoic, serious individual that he's normally shown throughout Ashura, and the crazy one who just loves fighting so much, the true Kano.
I could really use your help.
Yeah, so basically he combined his true crazy personality with his serious stoic personality. So he's got his mind working, and that's why. So it's no longer like a psychological transformation or anything. Now he's able to fight much better, switching between traditional martial arts techniques and the formless style. And the time it takes for him to go between both of them, switching between martial arts to formless, now takes even less time than it used to. Because just the amount of time it would take for him to switch between both fighting styles, thus switching between mindsets, is what led to him losing in the first place against Kuroki Gensai. Because just that switch between mindsets and fighting styles, Kuroki was able to take advantage of that and counter almost maybe not everything, but the majority of what Kano was throwing out. Who else has
I need a stable environment,
a bit of a psychological transformation, or just a transformation of some sort?
Brixton, so I can set it up. Also, I should be able to create an upgrade to your blast with this.
Sure, why not?
I think. I'm trying to think. Who was the Russian guy? What was his name? Well, anyways, I gotta take a quick restroom break, and I'll be right back. Weird, they changed my shift yet again. Now tomorrow it's what? Wait, 2:45 to 5:30. So let's see. So from 2:45 to 4:45, that's 2 hours. 5:30. So almost 50 minutes. 2 hours. So almost 3 hours. Man, it's so weird the short hours I've been getting at FedEx. Of course, I still think I'm pretty sure part of the reason why is not just because, well, every company had to change up their schedule and how long they had their employees working, thanks to COVID. Not to mention it's summer, and usually times like summers when you have the most people coming in and out of manual labor jobs like a package handler at FedEx. So it's nothing bad, but man, the fact that the hours keep switching, I didn't think it was like that hectic. Alright, so give me about 5 to 7 minutes. Alright, I'm finally back. I wonder if the other guy left at some point.
Okay, this is it. One more program to insert into the system and the area will work nicely. Just keep things safe while I upload it.
Do I ever lose?
That icon is a bit distracting while I'm trying to drive. You're not allowed to wear a beautiful dress unless I say so, madam. Right? Only in real life are women allowed to wear dresses without my permission. But in video games, no. 'Cause I rule. I'm the boss. Always do what I say. What the hell am I talking about? Now, what was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about King and yeah, I forgot that guy. He's that Russian fighter who's ridiculously huge, who's all about muscle power and no technique whatsoever. But anyways, let's see, there's him, and with the way he fights, it's not a full-on body transformation or anything. No, I think it's more just, I think it's 100% meant to be a technique of his own. And all it really is just him particularly flexing the muscles in his wrist in a specific pattern, as opposed to like just transforming his body overall, or even transforming his mindset.
Done. I think that should work. Stop. Okay, that should give me a better gateway into keeping an eye on things inside fake Steelport. Here's that upgrade I promised you. Thanks.
Sweet.
You know, if I was in the Kingen series, yeah, if I was in the Kingen series, I'd be basically like Okubo, Naoya, and Lolong, where my fighting style is no insane hidden secret family martial arts technique or some style that was created many years ago meant purely to kill or anything like that. It just be whatever naturally existing martial arts that I use. It'd be that, and it'd just be that, like just an overall mastery. Level 50, come on. Like just this overall mastery of whatever martial arts that I know. Because that's really what Okubo and Lolong, that's what they have, and that's what separates them from other Kingen fighters. Others who have full body transformation techniques, like Oma's advanced.
If you want to find and rescue your friends, you will meet me.
The rest of the Curie clans.
As a rule, I'm not a fan of disembodied voices.
What was it? The release technique.
Really think we would just trust some random ghost in a machine?
And a whole bunch of others who have their own body transformations.
What could go wrong?
I died.
And then there's those who have their psychological transformations, like Cosmo and Mai, and formerly Kano Agito. Since again, the two personalities he had throughout King and Ashura combined together, making him more quote-unquote normal compared to what we've seen before of him, at least throughout, started with King and Omega. So yeah, he used to have that. It was a bit of a transformation, but not anymore. So yeah, just no. I think there are other characters who have a transformation that's purely psychological.
How can you help me get my friends?
I know how to navigate the Zin systems and travel between them. If you can find the right simulation, I can open a gateway between that one and yours.
Why should I trust you?
Because I have no love for the Zin, as I was once their prisoner too. I have been stuck inside the Zin simulations, creating rifts, which cause chaos for Zinyak, though the Zin inevitably shut them down.
If you can open rifts, why do you need me?
Your help ensures I am able to keep them open permanently, a benefit to us both.
So why do you need my help?
My body has long since died. I implanted my consciousness into the main simulation computer many years ago.
How do you plan on helping me without a body?
I cannot. That is, not unless you find me a physical, mobile form I can download my memory matrix into first.
So I find you a body, and I'm supposed to just trust that you will help me.
Unlike humans, I keep my word and pay my debts. Besides, you know you need me.
Now, I think another thing that I would have in Kingen that would make me notable is I'd be like, let's see, the top grapplers from the Kingen Association, those being Cosmo, Kano, Agito, let's see, Cosmo Imai, Kano Agito, Okubo Naoya, and
my access code is 1331.
Who the hell was the other guy? Oh yeah, Meguro Masaki. He was another top grappler, even if he only had one fight and died. It didn't really show too many grappling skills besides that first throw he landed. And there is that counter throw he attempted but failed at in his one and only fight in the Annihilation tournament. Man, it's weird. And who was it? Who was it that referred to him as one of the top 4 grapplers? Damn it, I forget his name. Oh yeah, Muteba.
I want to make sure you are paid for your aid in keeping my rift open, and
to ensure you see that I am willing to help your cause.
Paid how?
I have found new code which allows you to change the element of one of your powers.
Do you have a place I can test this?
Indeed I do.
It's too bad for Sid we never find an actual physical body that's like humanoid or anything. Just this floating robotic orb. I'm thinking a form that doesn't have actual arms and legs for him to use. It's unfortunate we couldn't find anything like that for him. Even with Kinsey on our team at first and then later Matt on our team. Haha! For I am truly a genius in a video game. You know what I mean?
I wonder where...
Dang, buddy, can you wait up for me?
I'm not the first actor to move into politics, but I'm one of the better ones. Theater, film, television, animation, commercials. Shit, I've even done video games. Though video games are...
That was a lot simpler than I expected it to be. Not that that's a problem. I was talking about King. Yeah, I was saying how I'd be one of the... Let's see, if I was a character in Kingdom, I would develop my grappling skills in a way where I'd be one of the top grapplers. So basically, in a way, I would be a lot like Okubo. Because I already said how, like Okubo and Lo Long, I'd be that kind of character where I don't have no crazy physical or psychological transformation or anything of that sort. Just this huge mastery of a combination of natural physical talent that I have and techniques, traditional techniques that just about anyone can learn, not something that's like exclusive to some family or organization or whatever, like what Oma, the Cures, and a whole bunch of others have. I just straight up backhanded that fool until last week. Don't mess with me, mother suckers. I got a freaking wooden bat. Cause I'm a boss like that. I like I see little lives. Boom shakalaka, mother sucker. Hiya! Why am I so slow? Hey!
In order to use this element, you will need to manually alter your power.
Manually?
Yes. I have created this tutorial message
Look
to
who thinks they're
explain
straight
how to
out
do
of the
so.
Matrix.
Well, that's handy.
Now use your fire blast on those people. It will ignite anyone in the blast radius.
Hey, I wanted to do that.
You have to do... This would be great at a barbecue.
Some good old smoked barbecue beef.
More element types exist in this simulation for various powers, if you are able to find or create the code, that is.
Thanks for the help.
It is not help, only repaying my debt. Now I will let you continue on your quest to find me the body you promised.
Yeah, and by him repaying his debt, it ends up helping. Therefore, as she says, thanks for the help. For someone who's supposed to be so smart, you think you would figure that. See, as far as like as far as information and intelligence goes throughout this game, definitely it's between Sid, Matt, and Kenzie. Not that any of the others are stupid or anything, but definitely they're more the ones you would call in as the ground troops, the soldiers who march into battle. Whereas Matt, Kenzie, and Sid are definitely the ones who you would have hold back and what is it? Help the AI enter the simulation.
Listen, the AI will not help me break into another simulation unless I procure their body. So, how do we get in one?
The Zin have almost everything in the simulation locked tight, but there is something you can use. A control and interface device.
Ah, perfect. Tell me they are easy to find.
You're in luck. The Zin have a bunch in transit right now.
Now where was I with King? Oh yeah, I already said about my fighter style wouldn't be no transformations, but natural talent. Be one of the top grapplers for the Kengan Association. Right up there with Okubo. Right up there with Okubo, Cosmo. What was that freak's name I just mentioned? Meguro and Kano. So as far as like overall grappling, actually is Okubo, would Okubo be considered superior?
It's been months since I washed this stupid car.
I don't know. As far, I can't really tell. And that was in King and Ashura. Don't know how it is now with King and Omega. Since the last time we saw him have a fight, Cosmo had a fight against some guy who was pretty easy to beat. Managed to beat him in only just 2 strikes, no grappling needed. Whereas with Okubo, we didn't see anything new or very fancy or special from him. But he did manage to beat his opponent in the King Game versus Purgatory tournament. Anyway, so definitely not as good as Kano, but better than Meguro. So around the same level of grappling skill as Cosmo and Okubo.
Just get one and take it to a safe spot. You don't want to deal with Zin while trying to hack that device.
I am curious. Can this artificial intelligence
And
have
also,
a body
wait,
in the real world?
I don't think Kano has any specific grappling form. Well, he doesn't have any specific form. That's why it's called formless.
Does he want a body?
I doubt he wants to be trapped in the simulation forever.
Good point. Check the ship for a suitable shell just in case.
So it's yeah, it's formless.
Along with the
And
CIDs,
even if he uses a
Zin are
specific
transporting
form,
a prototype
it's
for
just
a
martial arts
contained
techniques in
force
general.
English,
So it could be from anything between sambo, judo,
Imagine a gun that
jiu-jitsu,
fires a bullet
whatever
that
forms of
bounces from one
wrestling.
target to another, to another, to another, like a pinball racking up 1 billion points.
Ah.
I need to increase my speed. I can't keep falling behind.
Be careful not to damage all the CIDs. I don't know when or if we'll get another chance to get one of these.
Of course, I have it handled.
I don't remember having this gun when I was playing as my first
It doesn't
person.
matter, just pick one.
Yeah, they're literally all the same.
Damn it! What did you do?
I touched it.
Well, touch it different next time.
ridiculous.
Don't pin this on me.
These things are defective. Look, better not explode. Thank you, Jesus.
Finally. Quick, get to a safe spot so you can crack it open.
Oh, gee, thanks. Yeah, I keep losing track of my thought.
You can get a CID there.
A simple smash and grab, yes?
Sure. Go with that. Just get one and take it to a safe spot. You don't want to deal with Zin while trying to hack that device.
I'm trying to think. Because in real life,
I am curious.
my grappling form is just
in the real world too?
it's mostly wrestling, but a bit of jujitsu.
You could download them to your phone if you wanted. Why?
Essentially, basically,
I doubt
catch
he wants to be
wrestling.
trapped in the simulation forever.
Good point. I'll check the ship for a suitable shell just in case.
Man, the more I think about it, the more I realize if I was in the Kinkin series, just how much I would probably be compared to someone like Okubo. As far as fighting styles. Well, personalities too, because we both have a fun-loving side. One thing that made him such good friends with, who were the other guys? Kaneda Sukiechi and
along with the CIDs,
Rihito. Forgot what Rihito's actual name was. There was a fourth guy in the group.
See, you know I hate techno
Was their very perverted nature.
Imagine a gun that fires a bullet.
Okay, I don't mind talking about beautiful women or whatever things women have that I'm attracted to. But I'm not really the kind to go and pull something on a woman like what you see in your stereotypical anime perverts. But my love for fighting definitely will allow me to get along with them. Oh, and comedy. But you know, if I was in the King series, I'd be the type of top level grappler who's all about throws. I'll be pulling off suplexes and power bombs and other types of throws all over the place. And a few judo throws. I do a little bit of judo.
Of course, I have it.
As far as like I only know like what, maybe a few throws from judo.
It doesn't matter. Just
that's really about it. Everything else I learned as far as holds and takedowns, I learned from wrestling.
Damn it! What did you do?
Maybe a few holds and submissions I also learned from jiu-jitsu. But it was from wrestling that I started learning proper grappling,
This is ridiculous.
takedowns and whatnot.
These things are defective.
Too bad I yet to find a place where I can learn grappling and learn how to do a suplex properly. Though my coach said that part of being able to do a full suplex is having to learn how to
Quick, get to a safe spot so
bridge
you can crack it
properly.
open.
In other words, arch your back so that you can land without breaking
How
it.
far must I take this thing?
Just away from the Zin. Pick someplace they won't find you.
Is this going to take all night?
I won't know until I crack open the device and see how it ticks.
This looks like a good place.
Keep an eye out while I work on this. I guarantee the Zin have a way of finding devices remotely.
Let me get my cod piece.
Here they come.
Don't let them take the CID.
That was invigorating.
I'm on my way.
Watch it! UFO!
Oh, hey! We found the tracking device.
Making any progress?
Would you like to take over? I could shoot aliens for a while.
Touché.
You know, as far as characters who could be considered the more normal ones, like Okubo and Lolong, where it's just the mastery of their skills, no physical or psychological transformations. Because, like, the second closest you have to a normal person in Kengan would be Cosmo.
Hold on.
And even he barely counts because he does, like I said, he does have his transformation in the form of his
Little bit more.
well, I don't think there's a name for it. That little mindset switch he does, that little
55 minutes.
that little personal.
55 minutes? That is about 52 minutes too long.
Look, the connection in this area is slow. Get closer to a major connection point like a power plant, and this might go faster.
Why did we not go there first?
Because a major connection point for the simulation is going to be heavily guarded.
Nevertheless, Sid will download faster, we?
Well, probably, but...
Then we are taking this thing over there.
Yeah, it would not have killed
Once
Kenji
Sid
to
is
mention that.
operational, how long until he can help retrieve my crew?
Well, assuming the AI wasn't lying, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't be able to get right to it. Speaking of which, who do you want to grab first? Pierce? Shondi?
I think we should get Matthew.
Miller? Oh my god, why?
Matthew has turned his life around. He joined MI6 at the Cyrus Temple, and you must admit, he is useful.
Useful?
You have so much to do, Kinsey. We are waging a cyber war, and I want you to have reinforcements.
I'm doing just fine without Miller. Thank you.
2 heads are better than 1, Kinsey. Make it so.
I like how soon, like almost any time you mention Matt's name, or anytime she hears his voice, Kenji gets so jealous so quickly. Just like in the very first mission you do. Hey, I got another trophy. Sweet. Spend 2 hours outside of missions with past Saints Row characters as your homies. What past Saints Row homies? Keith David?
I am here. I just need to eliminate the Zin first. Patience.
No, another person who doesn't have any special transformation or has any sort of technique that's straight up fictional within Kengan. The only one I can think of is
switch and voila.
Excellent.
Masaki Hayami, Meguro's clone.
Kinsey, language.
That's just part of the process.
Apparently, the most ladylike part of the process.
The full download should only take about 16 minutes.
There must be some way to make it go faster.
I'll see what I can find. There might be additional access points we can use to increase the bandwidth.
Funny how the player talks about language, and the player is supposed to be one of the most vulgar and the most, if not one of the most, if any other negative quality in a human out of everyone in any game. Even Kinsey's nowhere near as destructive or vulgar compared to the player. So wait, I think, was it because of the events of Saints Row the Third that Kinsey became jealous? Or is it just the idea of anyone being smarter than her on a technological level? Like I say, if anything, Matt's her equal. Just like the reason why Matt lost was because he didn't have anyone backing him up, quite like how Kenzie had a whole team to work with, like Kenzie, Pierce, Shondi, the whole Saints group. But one super genius versus another super genius, plus plenty of others who may not have the technical know-how like Kenzie, but their chaotic nature makes them hard to predict. Oh, the same. Oh yeah, there's Masaki, Hayami, Meguro's clone, and Kingen.
Personality transfer at 31%.
But what separates him from others that doesn't make him normal is the fact that he's a clone. He's a clone of Meguro.
Here it is.
Although if I remember, he doesn't have any very special or unique techniques. What separates him from other humans, or what separates him from the others, is just his unnaturally high pain tolerance. So it's kind of like Meguro, where with Meguro, any pain he receives, like the damage or the effect of some physical attack, would affect him the same way it would affect any other human. Like having an arm broken just simply means that arm is broken and can't be used. But he's able to, Meguro, he's a masochist, so he would still keep going because instead of it being painful to him, instead he would feel pleasure from it. So that's kind of like what you have with Hayami, where he feels the pain, obviously, like it hurts. It's just that it won't stop him. Like he won't react to the pain or to the damage.
Much too fast. Too fast. Suit is overloading.
Overloading?
Overheating. Get to him and cool him down.
Yeah, I was wondering about that for a moment. But anyways, what was I about to say? So anyways, the same kind of attacks that would kill almost any other person, it would still kill someone like Hayami. It's just that it wouldn't affect him as negatively because he can take the pain and still keep going.
It should be much more stable now.
How long before the download is complete?
3 minutes.
Splendid. That should give me enough time to destroy more Zin.
With my 2 SMGs with silencers attached.
Murder bots!
Murder bots? Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Kinsey, these are fucking murder bots!
Someone's been watching too much Terminator.
Better than that.
But wait, we didn't... No, there's no murder bots anywhere in the earlier Saints Row games. Stop shooting me! But needless to say, the murder bots in this game are so annoying to deal with.
Do you really want to give some rogue AI an exoskeleton equipped with a complement of weapons and a history of violence?
Absolutely not.
Besides, I already found a real CID body for him on the ship. So, you know, synchronicity.
They always look cool when they stand there holding their weapons up.
So much?
Shut up, Sid. So how can you explain?
Personality transfer at 74%.
So for Meguro and Hayami, it's like their bodies still receive pain, just like it would most humans, even if they can endure it almost better. So it's not like that they have. It's not like of durability, but more of how they react and take that pain is what makes them so scary.
Data bottleneck encountered.
It's almost like it's almost like fighting someone who's on coke or meth or some dangerous drug, where it's like you take something like a machete and cut their arm off. Obviously they're not going to grow that arm back, and no doubt they still feel it, but because they're so drugged up out of their mind, they can still keep going, still keep trying to attack you and kill you like a crazy person. Almost like a zombie. That's probably like the best comparison I could think of. So that's basically what it is for Hayami and Meguro. The way they take pain and keep on going, rather if it's being a masochist and feeling pleasure out of it, like Meguro, or simply taking it and being able to ignore it and keep going, as if they don't feel it at all, like Meguro, not Meguro, but like Hayami. That is creepy. Because again, there's others who are way stronger and more durable than them. Because overall, in terms of physical strength, it would go Meguro, then Hayami,
Download complete.
then fellow judoka
Time to kill us some aliens.
Arashiyama Jirota.
I'm gonna regret getting Sid a real body, aren't I?
Ah, Sid, we are going to get along famously.
Awarded. Why is this one green? Subtitles for animalistic
Take him
grunts.
down and I should be able to transfer some of his powers to you.
Man, that laser gun's awesome. Why can't that just be a gun I can naturally equip? It sucks how there's some guns, like miniguns, laser guns, or whatnot, you can only find from certain enemies if they're holding it, as opposed to being guns you can get from the store.
I feel it in my brain, Kinsey. I have become death.
Welcome to being able to move things with your mind.
Yes, I am now like the Martian Manhunter with the power of telekinesis. Martian Manhunter, Jean Grey, a whole bunch of others. You fake Johnny Gat.
This orb isn't dangerous, is it?
Yeah, it has more clusters in it. Pick it up with your mind and smash it open. Okay, now use that power to throw things at the warden and take down his shields. Nice job. I'm sure you'll have plenty of chances to use it.
Now, who would I say? Definitely my favorite characters in the Kengan series are Okubo Naoya, Lolong Donaire. Who's another one? So in terms of both, not just fighting style, but also character. So my favorite characters specifically are Lolong, Okubo, Lolong Donaire, Okubo Naoya, Kano Agito, Ryan Kuei, and oh yeah, Gala Wangsawat. Oh, and Masaki Hayami. Masaki, whatever. Now, as far as fighting styles, where it's like I don't care much for the character, but I do like the fighting styles. I like the way they fight. Just don't really care much for their story. That would be all the characters I just named as my favorite characters, because I like not just their characters and their stories, but I also like their fighting styles. So it's all of them. As far as those who I don't like their character, like I don't really care much for them, but I do like their fighting styles, that would be Meguro and Arashiyama Jirota, since they do judo just like Hayami. But they definitely do have their own unique flair to them. Like how Jirota has that special technique called the swing, which just allows him to grip the opponent by the fold of their skin or clothes and throw them without having to actually grab them like you traditionally would grab someone when doing judo. And Meguro, the way he does judo with he does it in a assassination style. In other words, every throw he goes for is a throw in which he's attempting to kill someone. It's a lot like well, I don't know if I can say it's a lot like, but the only other person that makes me think of that who uses judo as part of their assassination style is Go Hinogami. When I was much younger and I first played as Go and found and read about his status as an assassin for J6 and how he does judo, I was like, wait, judo? How can judo be an assassination style? Of course, that's when the only thing I knew about judo was a lot of the few of the throws associated with it before eventually learning there's a lot of throws in judo that are very dangerous, and depending on how you throw the opponent, you kill them. Just like with wrestling, how there's plenty of throws. If the opponent lands a certain way from a throw, whether they're slammed into the ground or literally tossed from the opponent, it could land on their spine or their neck in a way that could paralyze or kill them. So that's pretty cool. Though I have yet to hear of Go Hinogami himself being able to successfully kill anyone throughout Virtual Fighter, let alone we both using judo, or even anyone in his background stories. But with Meguro, we've seen how he's been able to kill a number of people using judo, as well as I don't know, that's just it. But that's pretty cool. Because I mean, I do judo myself, just obviously not with the intent of trying to kill anyone. You know, it's cool to know that from a tactical standpoint, the player is able to recognize that Matt being Kenzie's equal, again with the whole technical know-how, is all the more reason why they should save him first. Because Kenzie is a very valuable asset in all of this, but it's just that a job like this, it's definitely got to be very stressful on the mind when you're someone whose position makes them so valuable that they're also relied on the most, which just adds more stress to you should you fail. That's all the more reason why you should have someone to be able to be there to help you. Matt may be a total geek and all that, a nerd when it comes to stuff throughout the media, but still he's very good help.
In order to score a point, vehicles go through blue, people through green, and the head of our very own Professor Genki through the pink ones. Score a point on every hoop within the time limit, and you win. Good luck. It's murder time, fun time.
Genki is so weird. Like, not just the mascot, but the whole thing around it.
Welcome to Professor Genki's Mind Over Murder! Brought to you in part by everybody's favorite alien overlord, Zinyak.
That's right, folks. The Maven of Mascot Mayhem has teamed up with the Conqueror of Countless Galaxies to create an all-new Genki experience.
As folks at home know, by exploiting weaknesses in Zinyak's meticulously crafted simulation, our contestant has gained the power of telekinesis. But they will have to master the power of the mind to complete the challenges ahead of them today.
I can now see why the Professor was so eager to join forces with Zinyak. This should make for an interesting addition to the Genki family of games.
Right you are, Bobby. So let's meet our contestant, the winner of Genki Bowl 7, and our favorite contestant, the President of the United States.
Or whatever bits are still floating around in space, right, Zach?
Too soon, Bobby. Too soon. Let's get to the action. So, Bobby, how do you think the addition of superpowers is going to affect the game?
A submachine gun is a fine weapon, but nothing compares to the unlocked potential of the human animal. Super speed, super jump, and moving things around with the power of your mind. I'm expecting high action and lots of flailing bodies.
Makes you wish you had superpowers, doesn't it, Bobby?
I'm just happy not to be stuck in a vat full of foul-smelling nutrient milk, reliving my worst fears for all of eternity.
You and me both, Bobby. You and me both.
Can you imagine Genki and Zinyak flying across the galaxy together, conquering worlds and abducting the biggest badasses each planet has to offer, and pitting them against each other in a superpowered fight to the death?
Bobby, are you feeling all right?
Or they could team up against an army of mascots, flaming mascots, armed, rocket launchers,
and that's it for our first match.
Excellent job by our contestant.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this a few times, and boy is it annoying. Wait, hold on a second. What was that one, that pro wrestler who makes absolutely no attempts to dodge or block, literally just tank any and every attack that comes at him? I forget his name, but he's not my favorite character. Like, he's cool, just not one of my favorite characters. I wonder how is he not considered a top grappler in the King Reverse? Well, of course, like, being a pro wrestler, grappling is a part of what he does. But yeah, so far all he does is basic throws. Like, his grappling is almost relied entirely upon being bigger and stronger than his opponents, compared to the others who they're either small and agile like Cosmo, or they're pretty big and pretty bulky like Okubo and Kano, just not like that pro wrestler or the Russian fighter. Whereas that pro wrestler, was it Seki? S-E-K-I? I think that's his name.
Choo-choo!
Who said that? Good to know, even inside a simulation, plenty of Saints games are still roaming around. And of course, you get all three on your team instead of having to wait until later in the game or upgrading to have more members on your team. So much more to do, but I'll get into much more of this at a later point. Let me get that golden Sid first. Too bad when you kill a golden Sid, the Sid we have on our team doesn't make any reference to any of them.
Your presence is needed back on the ship.
I keep thinking if I was a character in Kingen, you know what sucks is that like when you talk about being, even if it is a heavily fictionalized version of yourself, where it's like, or it's just essentially you yourself as you are in real life, it's just that obviously to fit the whatever fictional universe you're in, you have to buff up your strengths and abilities. Like for me, worlds like Baki the Grappler and Kingen, it's easier to do that because all I'd have to strengthen or boost up is just my physicality, so I can take hits from other characters within those universes.
I need help inserting a virus into the simulation, among other things. Do this, and I will reward you. Do not do this, and you will get nothing. Understand?
Yeah, I got it.
I am glad Kinsey was able to find me a body in the real world as well. This is much more satisfying.
I think, no, I wouldn't say like the weakest character in Kingen is still stronger than the strongest human in real life, because who's the weakest person? Well, among the weakest fighters is Kaneda Tsukiechi, the guy born with a very sickly body, who has to take a shit ton of painkillers and other meds just to not die from even the most basic stuff. And who else is also very weak, or just not blatantly superhuman in strength and durability?
Show him you are better than his people at his
He's that Hispanic fighter called the Don Juan of Acapulco, who does a combination of boxing, capoeira, drug and kung fu. Damn, I forgot his name because he fought in, what was it, the first or second? No, it was the first match of the Kingen versus Purgatory match. For some weird reason, I keep thinking Miguel, but no, Miguel. Yeah, for some reason, like I keep thinking Miguel from fucking Tekken. Mind over murder again. Ugh. I don't like the missions that involve Genki. Just creeps me out.
Genki fans, to another round of telekinetic tomfoolery, where it truly is mind over murder.
Right you are, Zack. And here with us again today is that unstoppable force and the leader of the free world, the President of the United States.
And what a perfect contestant for the show, Bobby. So far, this is proving to be the perfect combination. An undefeated human with the abilities of an alien, meeting the challenges of the Mad Professor, and entertaining everyone in the galaxy. What more could our audience want?
Other than freedom from alien oppression, the reconstruction of their whole planet?
Well, let's see if I can find out that guy's name, the one I'm trying to think of. Oh, here it is. Kingen versus Purgatory tournament. The tournament was originally intended to be a series of 13 matches to be held in a year's time. Toyota Uematsu proposed extending it to 50 matches to be held in a month's time, but Nogi Hideki eventually negotiated back to 13 matches to be held in 6 months. Wait, do they mean, you know, at first I thought they meant like when they said in a year's time or a month or 6 months, I thought they meant as in the 13 matches would take place over a year. But then when they said 50, as in somehow 50 matches within a month.
Now, Bobby,
but then back to 13 matches, but somehow in 6 months. And I'm like, why would you need a whole year for 13 matches? But then I realized.
Our contestant is doing.
Okay, I gotta turn down the volume. You know, I'm just turning the voices off for now because I'm tired of listening to those guys talking. And it's not even the fact that they're talking, it's just the fact that it's those hosts from the Genki show. Like, I'm literally only doing this as a necessity. Almost anything involving Genki just really freaks me the hell out. Kind of. But yeah, eventually I realized is that what they meant, as in having all those matches within a certain time, was they just meant that it was originally 13 matches in a year's time, as in they would give it a year for the fighters to get together so they can find out who's going to be fighting in the tournament, and then the whole 50 matches in a month, as in they would give them 1 month to 1 month just to find their 50 warriors until they decide to go back to the 13 matches. Only instead of waiting a whole freaking year, they would just give them 6 months to find the individuals who would join each team. Hey, I wonder if we would ever get something like that, like a real life equivalent, where it would be the top fighters or whoever they choose from one mixed martial arts organization going against a team of fighters from another MMA promotion. Like World Series of Fighting on one side, Bellator, or what do they have in Japan? Because, well, they used to have Pride FC until that was unfortunately disbanded. Who do they have now? Oh yeah, Risen. Or Risen. Is it Risen? Risen? I'll have to look that up later. And I also gotta look up if they, because I know it's a thing that they have, but I just can't remember the exact name of it, if it's Risen or Risen. Yeah, I gotta see if they still have it ongoing. Because for some reason, I don't hear people talking about any of the fight promotions in Japan. Yeah, I do remember one time when I was talking about, as far as fighting competitive organizations with combat sports in Japan, and one guy I was hanging out with, for some weird reason he thought I was talking about like pro wrestling, like New Japan Pro Wrestling, even though, and for some reason, like I explained to him that I wasn't talking about NJPW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, but I was specifically talking about, sweet, and I did all the other stuff too, but how I was talking specifically about mixed martial arts in Japan since Pride FC, due to accusations of too many fixed fights, and not the triads, the Yakuza being involved. So who do they have right now? I think they have Risen. So Risen, Bellator, UFC, World Series of Fighting, and probably a whole bunch of other minor promotions where it's like they're still alive and kicking, but they're just not as popular. Thus, you don't hear about them on TV as often as you would for Bellator and UFC, at least here in the United States. Because obviously they do have promotions all over the world, from throughout the more than just Bellator and UFC, World Series of Fighting here in the United States, with plenty of others. And we're pretty sure this, yeah, Canada's got to have you got to have some kind of combat sports promotion, even if it's not mixed martial arts. Like, you could take any of them, whether they're minor fighting corporations or something big like Bellator and UFC, have them in something like the King Game versus Purgatory tournament. But I was supposed to find out who that one Hispanic fighter, because I was talking about the weakest characters, the weakest fighters. As far as like physical strength goes, like when it comes to the I forgot. Yeah, when it comes to physical strength, they're very weak compared to others. They can't take too many hits, where even a series of jabs can do them a lot of damage if they're not careful. But instead, they have to rely even more on skill, on being able to read their opponent and react, and on speed. Yeah, that's his name, Carlos Medel. He's a pretty cool dude. It's just, yeah, it's unfortunate how, as far as physical strength is concerned, he just doesn't have the durability to last very long. He has to be like how Ollie Jr. was in the Baki series, like glass cannon, able to move very fast and tag opponents very quickly, even before they notice, but has to move and dodge even more than usual to avoid taking unnecessary damage. Now, I'm pretty sure everything else about their fighting ability, from their speed, at least as far as Carlos' speed, Kaneda didn't really show insane amounts of speed himself, but his ability to read his opponent's moves and react accordingly. So even if their physical strength isn't superhuman, or even higher than the strongest human in real life, at the very least, almost everything else they have with combat ability is higher than the average human. But still, just to be even like the most average in strength of characters or the fighters, I would have to be buffed up in the Kingenverse or in Baki. Well, technically even more so in Baki, so I'm not considered lackluster, since the top fighters and Baki completely blow the top fighters in Kingen out the water. That's why I would rather much exist in the Kingen universe. Like, not saying that it's better than how Baki's universe works. It's just that it would only be in the Baki. It would only be in the Kingen universe, where even the average characters in the Kingen universe can somehow stand a chance against the top Kingen fighters.
Security breach. Lockdown in 90 seconds.
Haha! I am too smart for you. You cannot fool me. Get out of here.
You had a lesson in math.
How long have they been lying there?
Hey, who's making noise out there? Ah, cool.
believe I have to work a double.
You know, one of the unfortunate, I was talking earlier about the unfortunate things about if you were to place yourself within a fictional series, even if you had to change yourself only a little bit, and how with Baki and Kengan, it's just a matter of making yourself, just increasing your strength and durability, stamina, all that stuff. In other words, average human qualities, just so you can have a chance of competing in that world. Now, if I were to pick, I would have to, if I was talking with other people or just bring it up in general, I'd have to make myself either low or mid tier, just so it doesn't sound like I'm just being full of myself. If I decided I would make myself high tier to be able to fight with the stronger or more powerful characters in either series. Like, Kengan makes it where even a character who's considered a tier or 2 lower can still beat even characters who may be stronger or faster than them in whatever way. So not outright impossible to defeat other opponents. Whereas Baki the Grappler, it's like the bigger the gap in power, speed, and all this other stuff between you and the rest of your opponents, less likely you'd ever be to last longer than what, maybe a couple of punches from them, and that's about it.
God,
yeah, for some people you can't have those kind of conversations without them getting mad, saying how it wouldn't work even if you did this or did that because this character went through this stuff to be able to get here or there, or they have this or that ability, so you obviously wouldn't be able to beat them because of this. Even if you said, well, I'll just give myself that ability and that's what will allow me to fight against them, or at least hold my own. Like, if I were to put myself in Kengan, I'd be like Okubo or Lolong, powerful enough to take on people with very inhuman abilities, transformations and whatnot, and with fighting styles that either don't exist in real life or even more dramatized versions of real world fighting styles, however you want to describe that. Like the Kure clan and all their techniques, Oma Takeda and the Nico style, Ryuki Gao using the Gao style. You know, he himself doesn't have any transformations or anything. Hey buddy, you don't need this car. But yeah, that's how I would do it in Kengan. Again, someone who doesn't have all those other superhuman qualities, just enough strength, just a mastery and a synergy of my fighting styles, as well as just having plenty of strength, enough speed to actually tag and hit the opponent even if they are faster than me, and plenty of strength to actually hurt them.
Can't see me.
Whereas if I were to put, the problem with Baki is that it's just simply the fact that Baki himself is becoming more and more like his father Yujiro, where because of his speed and how fast he moves, and because of his strength and how hard he can hit, especially how compared to someone like Jack's more of that kind, is like your typical fighter who will aim for the head and other parts of the body like the midsection, whatnot, but not specifically the weaker points of the body like the chin or the joints, and he'll just hit at that particular area as hard as he can. Whereas Baki, he does all that, but he's also known for aiming for the parts that are usually the typical knockout points, like aiming for an opponent's, what was it, the liver or kidney? It was one of those two that Flip said is the most painful area to get stabbed in, besides the groin for men. See if I can do this by myself without calling in any homies.
Easy.
So yeah, if I were to put myself in the world of Baki and make myself able to go up against the top tiers, I would have to give myself physical strength. I'd have to give myself strength and speed comparable, even if it's not like exactly on Baki's level, just enough speed to watch out for his punch, for any of his strikes, and be able to dodge it and block them effectively. And strong enough so if I do get hit, I can endure them and be strong enough to take punches from people like him, Jack, Sukune, Pickle, and Yujiro. At least as far as Pickle and Yujiro if they're holding back. Because the crazy thing with Yujiro is just how much he has to hold back, and just how slow he has to move, just to prolong the fight long enough. A combination of that and him just not really being into the fight, like he's just doesn't seem to have much motivation or have much of a mood for it. Because that's kind of like what happened when Sukune wanted to fight him. You can almost tell by Yujiro's expression and from the way he was moving that he just wasn't really into it. Just figured, well, Tokugawa went through the trouble of calling me and bringing me here to fight yet another person who wants to see how good they are against me. But I'm just not really into it. I really don't care much against this guy. Compared to when he fought Baki, Doppo, or even had that brief confrontation with Pickle, where he was very much into it and was really enjoying it, and thus put, even if only slightly, put a little bit more effort into those fights versus everyone else he's ever went up against, from Sukune to Oliva and whoever else, where he put very, very, very little, and to the point of being no difficulty at all into his fight against those guys, if you can even call them fights. Like, those moments were just him toying with the opponent and just straight up embarrassing them. Whereas with his fight against Baki, Doppo, who was the other one that he fought? Musashi, as well as the little test of strength he did against Pickle. In those situations, he did put more effort into it, where you can't say he was just humiliating the opponent, but definitely he was having plenty of fun. Or I think his fight against Baki was the longest we've seen, and the most amount of techniques he's used in a fight. Like, his fight against Musashi, it lasted a short while. Definitely enough where he was enjoying it, but they both weren't really going full out, like they weren't putting their absolute highest effort into a fight or anything. Which is unfortunate, because it was a pretty cool fight until freaking Motobe had to go and step in. And Yujiro definitely had every intention on killing him until he managed to get away. Like, damn it, man.
Nice fight. I'll take it.
Get off the bike. But as I was saying, because of Motobe's intervention, Yujiro's fight against Musashi was very brief. Thus, he didn't get to use as many techniques. And I think the second longest fight he ever had throughout the entire series was against Doppo. And even then, it was obvious he... let's see. So between his fight between his fight with Dopo and his fight with Baki, definitely his fight with Baki lasted the longest. But Baki being his son, being a Hanma, and far surpassing Dopo from any period of time between the first, second, and third manga, because Dopo was there from the beginning.
I need to get some dry.
Yeah, the only reason why Yujiro's fight against Dopo lasted as long as it did is because not only was he holding back, but there was no one there who could interfere since it wouldn't be allowed. Whereas his fight against Baki, no one dared to interfere. I don't know if it was Pickle's intention to interfere, but he obviously just doesn't understand modern social norms. So I guess in his eyes he just showed up, but I don't think he was gonna really do anything to Baki or Yujiro. But obviously not wanting to risk the chance, Baki ends up punching Pickle hard enough to knock out a 2, and Pickle was pissed off at first, like he had a murderous look in his eyes, until he saw that Baki had an even more murderous look in his eyes, and Baki straight up told him how it's his fight and told him not to interfere. Thus, Pickle understood even if he is physically stronger than Baki, it's just not his fight to get involved in. Man, I really wish we could have gotten a rematch between Musashi and Yujiro. Ow! Oh, that was weird. Yeah, it probably is good if I just lay off the soda for now. So overall, I had to say between Baki and Kengan, I like Baki the Grappler more. I guess I like the series more overall than Kengan, but just so I could say I could stand a chance even against the highest tier characters, I would rather be in the Kengan series. Since, yeah, I'd still have to put in a lot of hard work and everything. Just not as much compared to the insane amount of stuff I'd have to go through just to be able to have the opportunity to fight Baki, even that. Because really, other characters having the strength, speed, the durability, the overall fighting ability to not only be able to stand a chance, but to give Baki a high difficult match. That was back in the first manga. Second manga onwards, it became evident. It became very evident that only the most unique characters could stand a chance against Baki. Those being, let's see, who throughout the second manga? Because Baki did have a brief encounter. A very brief encounter with Biscuit, but like I said, it was just that, a brief encounter, and I think all that was just Biscuit tanking a not even like a full powered punch or kick or anything from Baki. I think it was more light-hearted on Baki's part. In other words, not full effort. And the only other person who gave him any trouble was Yanagi. Now it's because of Yanagi's poison technique, and that was about it. And obviously, Yujiro's still being the most powerful creature on the planet, being able to push Baki around pretty easily. Which I'm pretty sure, yeah, definitely, even as of the current arc, after Jack defeated Sukune and a new character, Kuhaya, whatever was introduced, Yujiro is still at the top of the verse. So it's like now, definitely, it's very obvious. There's very few characters who could give Baki any kind of fight. Like I imagine the only characters who can give him a match of any kind where he has to put in effort would be now his brother Jack, since Jack has now gotten much stronger. Don't know about Sukune now, but obviously Yujiro and very likely Pickle. So yeah, really the only way to stand a chance and be able to put up any kind of effort against Baki, let alone Yujiro, or even make Yujiro put in more effort, is only by being a Hama. And obviously I'm not, since I would go into there as a Griffin. Man, I haven't completed that much of the story, and already, I only completed 12 missions and already got 58% of the simulation hacked. Putting a lot of effort. 41. So it's like only like a total of 41 missions overall. You know, I'm not even really disappointed with that. Just that I figured there would be even more, like the game would have more missions. So where am I? Let me see what this all the way over there is, and maybe complete that, and that should be it. I wonder if what would my finishing technique be in Kingen? Any kind of fighting manga. Because Lo Long has the invisible elbow, which is just a very fast and powerful elbow strike, an elbow slash at the opponent's blind spot. Like very basic move itself, but still very effective. Okubo, yeah, I don't think, yeah, Okubo doesn't have any specific finishing moves. Although the one finishing move he tried to use, but it wasn't enough to take down Agito, was that soccer kick he did. And then the finishing move he used against what was that assassin's name? Man, I'm forgetting everybody's name.
Nothing how to fight?
Dang. After the SMGs, I want to upgrade the shotgun next. Aha! A red warp. Or is that orange? We should have a duel of honor, and it shall be epic. Because I said so. You bitch. Dang it! Man, he recovers fast. Why are you standing so far? Get over here so I can shoot you. Man, you don't just stand still. Big as these creatures are, and they're more likely to run away throughout the whole fight. You know, I've been thinking this whole time, man, I don't think I would have any kind of specific finishing move in Kingdom. Which is unfortunate considering the amount of finishing or killer moves people, even minor characters like Meguro had, as well as others like, I guess you could say Cosmo has finishing techniques. Basically, any kind of chokehold he can put his opponent in, that's his signature move or finishing technique. Any kind of headlock he can get his opponent into. Dude needs to gain a little bit of muscle mass so he can start throwing people as well. Sweet, taking over everything. Some activities I haven't completed, but yeah, that could also... Wait, I'll save this for now. After this, I'm gonna play some other games. Yeah, I'm just gonna play DC Online. So thanks to everyone who tuned in, and I'll see you all in the next stream. Have a great day.